wait for a little while. We have finished the parentheses with the 2 lines from the bottom. However, we need still to discuss some of the principles therein. So I got a question from Moshe Silver. We're saying here that Ratzon, because it's a koyach makifi, it's a noir makifi, therefore it does not get involved with the koyach pnimiyim, and it's not affected by them. Although it does seem that the Ratzon becomes more active, more pronounced, more begilu, as a result of some activity in sechel or midas. So the answer to that is that this merutze, this effect, is not really mitzad the koyach itself, but it is mitzad the underlying Oneg that's in there. The Oneg that's in Haskalah, this is what affects this merutze. So Moshe still ask, so to speak, a point-blank question. It's called the klotz kasha. Oneg is also a makif. So how come, why is Oneg doing over there in the middle of this koyach activity of sechel? This is so to speak, a klotz kasha. It's a kasha that hits you right straight in there. Where does Oneg come in? How is Oneg answered? Ratzon is not affected by the koyach. Oneg, which is a greater, even a higher koyach, that is affected by sechel, by the activity. However, the explanation is as follows. Ratzon and Oneg are both koyach makifim, meaning that they both emanate and represent the nefesh per se, but in 2 different ways and at 2 different levels. I've explained many times. Oneg is an internal type of a koyach. Ratzon is an external type of a koyach. Ratzon is what pursues the aspect of the nefesh, but pursues it on the outside. He wants to transform the whole world, so to speak. Oneg is that which is internally experienced and recognized. So the relationship between the sechel and Ratzon, and sechel and Oneg, it's a completely different type of relationship. On the sechel part, Ratzon, as we said before, Ratzon is what forces the sechel out. In a sense, compelling the sechel to come out and pursue a certain path to recognize what the sechel is supposed to recognize. So Ratzon is an external effect on the sechel. Oneg is a completely different relationship with the sechel. Oneg, as a matter of fact, is the basis of the sechel. I'd like we should understand this, and I'd like, for many, many reasons. It's a common expression. It makes sense. This common expression, it makes sense, is taken for granted And superficially, we think that making sense means that we can prove the point. Peripherally, we can prove how that point A and point B correlate. Externally. But really, the idea and the expression making sense has a much more profound, much more significant meaning than that it can be proven externally. Making sense is a personal experience. Making sense is a deep sechel dikelim, not an external provable aspect. And what is the principle behind making sense? What does it mean to make sense? The principle of making sense is, I see that what you are saying is really true. Not because you're proving it to me by sechel. I see, I recognize its truth. And how do I recognize its truth? Because I see it goes all the way into the Oneg. Oneg is the buttress, is the basis of all existence. And I see how this is really correlates and how this fits in with the reality as I know it. This means that makes sense. Because I've said many times, Chochmah, which is the top revelation of sechel, and Chochmah is a direct derivative of Oneg, a direct expression of Oneg.
Chochmah is a derivative of Oneg?
Right, it's not a derivative, it's a revelation of Oneg. Let me explain what I mean. I give this very simple Shalim, but everybody can relate to that. We said many times, you bring a table into a room, and you start contemplating, how should I set the table? Should I set it this way? Should I set it this way? And we think that this whole debate is a sechel debate. It fits this way. It's more util this way. The real background of this whole debate is, where does it fit? What makes sense? Where do I feel more comfortable that this table fits into this room where it belongs? Because a table and a room do have a relationship. A room demands a table even before it's there. That's what a room is all about. So when you start bringing a table into the room protests. You're not putting it where it belongs. You're violating, so to speak, a sense element of the table of the room. So when you say this is the right way for it, that means it makes sense. This is the Oneg element of this whole phenomenon of putting the table there. The table is a practical thing. But as a human demand, there's an Oneg behind it. A room without a table feels empty. It's missing something. A room properly appointed with table and chairs, you bring out the richness of the room.
To remain on the call, press 1.
So this is a clear illustration of the principle. How Oneg is the buttress, so to speak, is the neshama of the sechel. When you say it makes sense, we don't mean it makes sense logically. It makes sense on the insight, on the sense of reality as we sense it in our sechel. And where do we get the sense of reality? This is from nefesh through Oneg. Therefore, when we say over here that when one is engaged and brings out haskalah, a very great haskalah, this is instrumental in bringing out Ratzon and making him merutze. So we said how that seems that the sechel has an effect on Ratzon, but we said that Ratzon cannot be affected by sechel, by koyach pnimi. So we said the answer is it's not the sechel. It's the oneg that's inherent in the sechel. That's the basis of the sechel. The oneg that the sechel reveals, where the sechel is drawn from. It is not the correctness of the sechel, it is the fact that it makes sense that brings out the Ratzon. Therefore, this explains both how the Ratzon becomes merutze as a result of sechel. It's not the sechel, it's the oneg, and also we explained how that explains the whole phenomenon that oneg is also koyach makifi, and yet it is there because oneg is the buttress of the sechel. The whole sechel is based on the oneg. Sechel reveals what the oneg is. And we said that this statement, it makes sense. It's not a sechelic statement. Sechel identifies it, but it's based not on sechel. It's based on the reality of human sense of reality. Okay. Now let's go to the end of the second line from the bottom, after the parentheses. All of this refers to the whole discussion of Ratzon, how Ratzon affects the koiches on the top-down manner, and even after that, it is still at a distance, it is still aloof, it is not affected by the koiches, doesn't get really involved. It's not the hislapshus. Hislapshus means it doesn't step into the koyach phenomena. All of this who is true because mipnei sheharotzin because the Ratzon is, okay, these words were thrown around in the WhatsApp. Sheharotzin hu gilui me'etzem hanefesh. Ratzon is a gilui. The word gilui we discussed. Gilui means an expression of, from the etzem hanefesh. In simple terms, it means Gil Ratzon is a statement that the Etzem HaNefesh makes. It's a statement. It's a Gili. But who makes the statement? The Etzem HaNefesh makes the statement. I want to go there. Who says that? The Etzem HaNefesh says that. Where is the Etzem HaNefesh come to make statements of this nature? Go there, don't go there, do this, don't do this. What does it have to do with Etzem HaNefesh? Etzem HaNefesh is not affected by anything.
The nefesh is not affected by anything.
Right. Etzem HaNefesh is not affected by anything.
Etzem HaNefesh is not affected by anything.
So everybody all of a sudden the nefesh is a gilmet and he makes a statement. I want this, I want that. What is that? How is that fit with the union for Etzem HaNefesh? And it's a gilu mi Etzem HaNefesh. It's a statement coming from Etzem HaNefesh. So this principle we already discussed, really. The word etzem is an extremely powerful illusion. Etzem, it's very difficult to really to describe Etzem, but we have already discussed it such many times, and we have sechel, we should be able to understand the concept. I would think the best way to alert us to this is again from Mishonim, and the one mashal that brings it home is what the Gemara says, Odem Sheini Bayis Eniyot. It's a very, it's an odd question, odd statement. If he doesn't have a home, he's not an Odem. He's an Odem, we discussed it many times. He's got all the facility, the qualities of a human being. Any Bayis Eniyot. And what does that mean? Really, he's an Odom. But the essence of being an Odom has not come forth yet. The essence of being Odom by him is still concealed. Has not made a statement yet. Because what is the essence of Odom? Of being an Odom? Is his sechel, is his midas, is his wisdom and his ability to build. What is the essence of the Odom? The essence of the Odom is that the world is, that he relates to the world as his domain. And his sense of responsibility for the world. This is the Etzem of the Odom. This is the plan, this is the initial plan for Odom, this is the initial statement in the creation of Odom. This is what Odom is. This is why Odom changed the entire face of the world. Prior to that, the world was not a world. When Odom came to the world, he became a world. There is a concept of what a world is. There's someone in the world who takes responsibility for it. This is Odom. Ele Bais, which means he doesn't have a foothold in the world. His inyan that he is an Odom has not yet come to full expression. Full expression of Odom is that he has a place in the world, because that's his domain. This kind of should be able to make us think and understand the concept of an etzem. He is a human being who's got all the qualities of a human being, all 613 aspects, and yet we say he's any Odom. There's a certain underlying reality that has not yet surfaced. This reality cannot be pinpointed. Where is it lying? Is it in his foot, in his hand? What is it? Look, he's able to speak and do other things. He's missing the essential purpose for which he was created. This is where it is important to bring this principle. We have to understand all of these things from the perspective that this is a divine creation. This which God put in it, this is its essential reality. Where you find the divine presence, this is what its essential truth is. How it functions on its own in the confusion of the world, this is not its essence. Not for a human being. Salmanik was saying that the human being came here with a divine plan, and he presents the divine plan. That's the essence. This is the meaning of essence. Let's not try to put it in words. Essence means something that exists before it came into existence. It is based on a superior reality rather than on the factual presence. The table is here. Okay, the table is here. You can't deny it. You can feel it, you can touch it. The table has an essential place in the room. This essential place in the room means that it is present. It has a place in the room before it was created. And when we bring the table into the room, it fits right in. Oh, of course. The room is waiting for it. Therefore, coming back to the bottom line, Ratzon is gilui me'etzem hanefesh. Ratzon is a statement made coming from the etzem hanefesh. You ask the question, where is etzem hanefesh come to make a statement? The answer is, the etzem hanefesh has an essential purpose of being here. And it's a defined element what the nefesh is. Etzem. And what is the ultimately the broader statement union of the etzem nefesh? That it has to affect its environment. It has to bring nefesh or godliness into wherever it is. This is etzem nefesh. Etzem nefesh. This is so to speak divine presence in the world. Therefore, what is the constant statement of the nefesh? If there is a place in the world that I have not yet transformed into a godly spirit, I have to go there. So Ratzon, this compelling element in the nefesh that pushes, so to speak, all the aspects of the nefesh out, is gilui me'etzem nefesh. It's a statement coming from the etzem nefesh. And since it's a statement from the etzem nefesh, let's continue on that line. Since it's a statement of etzem nefesh, that is not within proximity. Geder is not in the, so to speak, in the Geder means a fence. It's not within the periphery of Islamship
Category.
To be able to be mislavish mikelim, to be mislavish means to be contained in a keli. Etzem cannot be contained in a keli. A keli can contain some kind of a functional aspect. It can be very lofty functional, but it's really a functional aspect. Etzem, there's no keli for etzem.
Is etzem a keli for everything else?
What?
Etzem is a keli for everything else?
No, etzem is not a keli. Etzem brings everything, creates everything. Not a keli. No, that's not. So it's not together. He slapshes the keli. This is why a Ratzon cannot be captured in a keli. Since it cannot be captured in a keli, it cannot be related to other koiches which are keli bound, like sechel and midas. Let's put it very, very simply. Please understand this is oversimplification, but just to make point. To bring a sechel out, what is the ultimate way to bring out sechel? Is put it into words, into thought and words. This is putting the sechel in the kelim of words. You cannot put an etzem in words. Sechel you can put in words. Etzem is not the gather establishing the kelim. We cannot define what an etzem is bichlal, in words or even in thought. This is why Ratzon cannot come in the kelim, and therefore, v'gam and also, let's continue. Ein boy chilukim adreges. Since it's a gili meyatzem hanefesh, it's a statement coming straight from the essence of the nefesh. Therefore, there is no chilukim madreges. There is no distinction of madreges, different madreges in the etzem. No. Ein boy in Ratzon there is no chilukim madreges. Be'etzem in essence of the Ratzon. In the essence of Ratzon there is no different madreges, because the whole Ratzon is a statement coming from the etzem hanefesh. Kiyim, let's continue on top. Kuf Chavod. Kiyim only. What then is Ratzon if it is not? If it's a statement from the nefesh? So if this statement cannot be put into a keli? What then is it? It's a statement, and it cannot be put in a keli. That seems to be contradictory. The answer is rather hu koyach ve'oir poshut. It's a koyach and an oir poshut. Let me explain. Maybe I'll be able to conclude this statement. What is meant by the word oir poshut? Koyach and oir poshut. I was thinking, and I thought it already. I started to put it a little bit in the WhatsApp. Let's take the following illustration. You own a home, and you rent a home. This home is 10 stories, and in both cases, your jurisdiction of the entire home. All 10 stories. In one case, it's a rental. In the other case, it's an ownership. What is the difference? A very profound difference. I'd like give me half a minute to think, then we'll see what it is. It's a profound difference. Whether you own it, I'm talking in terms of relationship to these 10 stories. I'm not talking about how much money you have and how wealthy you are. I'm talking about the relationship to this home. You have full jurisdiction of the home if you rent it. You can use the rooms any which way you want. When you own it, obviously the same thing. What's the difference? The difference is, when you own this home, and the home contains 100 rooms, there is no 100 rooms that you own. You have one ownership. All the 100 fall into b'pshitus, into this one point of ownership. They're not additional points of ownership. Whereas in rental, each room is an additional rental. It's a standalone entity. Even though practically you can't even tell the difference. But there's an inherent difference. In the case of ownership, it's one spirit that unites all of these rooms. one reality. So this whole ownership is a bit pshitus. Pshitus means it is not an identifiable entity on its own. This room also. This room, no, there's not this room also. This also. In mental, yes, every room is also. Ratzon is a koyach v'hir poshut. It extends all over the entire reality, but not in a form of everything. Every place where the Ratzon reaches, it is an additional entity, an additional presence. It's a koyach v'hir poshut. Because of the truth of the nefesh, this is why everything falls into this Ratzon. Not because this also and this also. No matter how extensive this Ratzon is, and how much it spreads out, there is no multiple entities therein. And now, therefore, reciprocally, we can say this clearly. You cannot go into kelim. To fit something in a kelim, you have to fit it piecemeal. How do you dress? Put on your jacket. Put one sleeve, another sleeve, and so forth. A kelim has to come in a certain orderly fashion. But this is not has no relationship to kelim. It's a poshut. Okay. Now maybe we'll have to be able to finish it. Okay, for this reason, since it is not distinguishable in koiches, in chinukim adregis, and it's a koich v'hir poshut. Therefore, b'hamshachosoi, when it is drawn further out, and it touches many things, the whole mokim, any place, shenimshach, where it is drawn, what is the effect and what is the meaning of its coming there? She'atzmus hakoyach nimshach bozeh. It is the etzem hakoyach that's nimshach bozeh. It is not an effect of the koyach, it is the etzem hakoyach. Because it's koyach v'hir poshut. Just as in